So today I'm going to speak to you about the contribution of the small businesses within the New Zealand economy and how our government is supporting the sector. But one thing I was noting when Bruce was speaking, actually, the commonalities of small businesses wherever they are, and some of the challenges and the new challenges they have. So their scarce resource is of course time. Time spent doing stuff, bureaucratic stuff, administration stuff, is time not spending making their widgets or selling their widgets or selling their services. Capital is a scarce resource. Working capital is a scarce resource, and the price of that capital and access to that capital is an absolute scarce resource. Cash flow is the ongoing challenge when many of our small businesses, of course, may have mortgaged their own home, their own house and family's home against the hopeful success of their business, while often paying themselves last when they pay the employees and any other creditors and obligations first. And of course, new and emerging challenges such as the competitor which was once up the road or up in another town or another city is actually anywhere in the world now, by and large. Anywhere in the world. Creates awesome opportunities for our small businesses, but also huge new challenges to them as well. So a quick snapshot of the New Zealand economy. So our economy is growing very well. In fact, we're one of only 14 countries with a top AAA credit rating and a stable outlook. Our growth has been consistent, employment is increasing, and confidence is continuing to grow and be strong. Our growth, and therefore benefiting small businesses across the country, has actually been higher than most OECD countries in recent years. Inflation, and more importantly, inflation expectations, are well anchored and very low. Strong fiscal and monetary policy frameworks and a healthy financial sector have all generated macroeconomic stability with, as we saw through the GFC perhaps, and we've seen in potentially the troubled times that's happening in Southern Europe at the moment, actually the strength of the Australasian financial sector is the untold story of robustness of our two economies that got us through the GFC and will serve us well if in fact things go to custard up there in Europe, but actually with our acting treasurer here, I think all's going to be well. Is that the case? But of course small businesses are the bedrock, the heartbeat of our economy, the same as here in Australia. And they make a major contribution to growth through their formation, their job creation, job retention, increasing productivity, innovation, value-add products and services, and of course, and most importantly, and more importantly, their links into global supply chain. In fact, we were just having a discussion here at breakfast how many businesses, we're an export economy, the region I come from, Hawke's Bay, is an absolute export province region. Some businesses don't quite realise how linked up they are to the export supply chain. They may be, I don't know, a cleaning company or a plumbing company servicing a company which is doing very well and growing because of the growth in trade due to the free trade agreements. In fact, we've seen an absolute take-off in our economy, which served us very well through the GFC, by the way, with our FTA with China in particular, is that took off and really brought some benefits to our regions in tough times elsewhere in the world. About 97% of our businesses, or around 460,000 firms in New Zealand, are in fact small businesses. That figure includes around 326,000 companies which actually have no employees. I constantly find that quite fascinating. They're contracting type businesses and sole traders. The number of employing enterprises hasn't changed particularly significantly over the last decade, and a high proportion of all those enterprises that are small businesses are actually about a similar pattern that we find in most OECD countries. Our small businesses employ about 584,000 people, or around a third of our workforce, and create about a third of our GDP. Or another way, which I like to actually frame this, small businesses employ 584,000 Kiwis and therefore help fund their families and help pay for their families' wants, their families' needs and their families' mortgages. They are absolutely the heartbeat of our economy.